New Moon, March 19th, a financial reset for these zodiac signs. March 19th marks the start of one of the most intense points in the lunar cycle. The new moon abruptly resets financial scenarios. What wasn't working will begin to fall apart, and new opportunities will appear where yesterday there were none. But this reset will not affect everyone equally. Some signs will get a chance to drastically change their financial situation. If you want to understand these moments before others, subscribe to the channel. Let's start figuring out for whom this new moon will be a financial turning point. The first sign we will talk about is Taurus. March 19th does not hold any beautiful promises for them. It cuts through the old financial scheme, harshly, without warning. Representatives of this sign will suddenly see where their money has been leaking for months. Small expenses, unprofitable agreements, the habit of carrying someone else's burden, payment for loyalty that has long since ceased to be worthwhile. The new moon puts an end to all of this. Taurus enters this period with one main task: to get rid of everything that does not bring profit. Not sometime, now. They give up unnecessary subscriptions, empty trips, spontaneous purchases, ineffective investments. But it's not just about saving money. The main thing is something else. He develops a cold calculation. He begins to look at every action through the lens of results. Who is beneficial? Which channel brings in money? Which skill actually sells? Which connections work? And which ones just take up time? It is after March 19th that Taurus's pragmatism sharply increases. This will manifest itself in work. Those who have been stuck at the same salary for a long time will start talking about a raise. Those who have been carrying more than their fair share will stop keeping quiet. Those who have been working without a system will finally introduce numbers, accounting, and clear control. For many representatives of this sign, this will be the point when money ceases to be a topic of anxiety and becomes a topic of management. A strong window of opportunity opens for Taurus to review their sources of income. Additional income, which previously seemed temporary, will suddenly begin to provide stable amounts. An old idea, postponed due to fatigue or doubts, may return in a practical format. Without dreams, without noise, like a working scheme. The new moon gives him not luck but sobriety, and it is sobriety that brings money. Debts and obligations deserve a separate mention. During this period, Taurus is capable of closing what has been dragging on for a long time, or, conversely, to stop financing what no longer makes sense. He will not save everyone. He will not cover for someone else's irresponsibility. This is an important turning point. It frees up resources, time, energy, money. In the second half of the month, representatives of this sign will become tougher in negotiations. Calmer, more precise. They will stop agreeing to vague terms. They will start to formalize agreements. They will demand prepayment, specific deadlines, and a clear scope of work. And that is what will change the balance. Where they were previously perceived as easygoing, people will now see someone who counts and does not back down. This financial shift will not look dramatic, but it will have an effect. The accounts will become more balanced, expenses will become clearer, decisions will become firmer, and most importantly, Taurus will stop losing money due to inertia. This is his reboot, without chaos, without illusions, through control, through cutting off, through strength that is no longer scattered. Leo. Next, I want to talk about a sign that is used to setting the bar high, even when the numbers in the account already require stricter discipline. This is Leo. The new moon on March 19th works for him like a command for financial restructuring. No soft transitions, no long deliberations. Representatives of this sign will see a sharp change in their views on spending, status, work ambitions, and their own value. Where they used to spend to impress, they will now start spending only for results. Leo enters this period with a strong inner desire for respect, but the new moon will quickly show one simple thing. Respect without money does not hold the system together. That is why the first shift will come through work, through payment, through specific conditions. If they have been doing more than they receive for a long time, The silence will end. If he is leading a project but does not control the financial side, he will have to quickly fix this. If he is building an image of strength but there is a cash gap inside, he will have to cut the excess and put things in order. For Leo, this is not a period of romance with money. This is a period of harsh revision. He will begin to see how much money is being spent on things that do not bring a return. Expensive habits, emotional purchases, attempts to maintain an image that no longer works for profit. After March 19th, a cold decision will be made. Either the expense strengthens the position, or it is removed. This is where his financial reboot begins. For many Leos, the topic of personal income will come up due to visibility, public role, leadership position, selling their own experience, consulting, negotiations, personal brand. But there is one important condition: less pomp, more precision. Those who can package themselves into a clear proposition will quickly see results. Those who continue to cling only to their image will face stagnation. The new moon does not support empty displays. It supports power that can be monetized. A separate line will go through competition. Leo will suddenly see who is earning more, not because they are stronger, but because they are better at counting. This will hit his pride. But it will be beneficial. He will start to act differently, not more broadly, more precisely. He will become interested in numbers, margins, and the real terms of agreements. The representative of this sign will become more attentive to details that he previously considered secondary, and that is where his money lies now. In key points to pay attention to: talks about raising pay, new terms of cooperation, offers to take on a public role, unexpected expenses on status items, conflicts over money at work, the desire to quickly prove one's power through a purchase or gesture. This is a trap. The new moon requires you not to show your resources, but to preserve and multiply them. Anything purchased to impress will result in a loss. Anything purchased to strengthen your position will result in growth. Another important point is people who suddenly start talking about shared money, shared investments, shared risks. Leo, you cannot get involved in this emotionally. Only after verification, only after the numbers, only after strict conditions. This period is well suited for reviewing contracts, launching more expensive services, updating prices, and rejecting clients or partners who demand a lot but give little. After March 19th, Leo will not become softer. On the contrary, they will become more collected, quieter, and more dangerous in negotiations. They will promise less, fix more, explain less, and take more for granted. And that is what will give them a shift. Money will go where they stop playing a role and start acting like a person who knows their worth. Sagittarius, and another sign that made it onto this list is Sagittarius. For them, the new moon on March 19th is not about inspiration. It's not about a beautiful opportunity. It is about a harsh financial correction. Representatives of this sign are tired of chaotic decisions, of sudden changes, of attempts to take on more than they can actually handle. That is why this period will force them to stop and look at money without illusions, straightforwardly, soberly, by the numbers. Sagittarius often loses not because of a lack of income, but because of dispersion. They may have several directions, several ideas, several sources of movement, but there is no strict assembly. The new moon strikes right here. After March 19th, it will become clear which direction is draining energy without return, which project is taking up time, which people are creating noise but not bringing results. This is the moment when cuts will have to be made, and I consider this to be the main point of strength for Sagittarius. Not to expand, to narrow. It is through narrowing that growth will come. At work, priorities will begin to be reviewed. Some representatives of the sign will remove secondary tasks and leave one profitable vector. Some will end old collaborations that have long been based only on habit. Some will stop working for the future without pay. This will be the right decision. My expert opinion is simple. During this period, Sagittarius should not believe promises of future benefits. If there is no specific amount, deadline, or mechanism, anything vague will drag them down. A financial reset for Sagittarius comes through discipline, which they usually put off. Accounting, control recording, a budget, at least for a short period. Refusal to make impulsive payments, checking where the money goes every week. This is where the main turning point will be. Not in a stroke of luck, but in stopping regular losses. When they see this, the picture will become harsh, but useful. It will become clear that part of the tension was created not by low income, but by the lack of a system. Separately, it is necessary to mention the topic of travel, education, new tools, and development costs. This is where Sagittarius often goes overboard. He easily invests in things that look promising, large-scale, and interesting. But not everything that looks like development is profitable. After March 19th, this will become obvious. You will have to distinguish between what is useful and what is prestigious. A training that provides a specific skill is worth taking. Expenses that simply fuel ambition should be stopped. Key points to pay attention to: offers of quick money without clear conditions, the desire to launch several new projects at once, old acquaintances with ideas for joint projects, large expenses for expensive equipment, trips or training without a clear return on investment, accumulation of small payments that go unnoticed on a daily basis. It is also worth keeping an eye on documents, terms of agreements, and payment deadlines. Sagittarius is not at risk of a lack of opportunities right now. The risk is that they will overestimate the scale and underestimate the details. Another important area is talk of freedom. It is under this word that Sagittarius often justifies financial disorganization. But now, freedom only works where there is support. I am convinced that the best decision for this sign in March is not to look for a new big chance, but to put things in order with what already exists. Collect income, cut out the empty, raise the price where it has long been underestimated. Set boundaries where people have been taking advantage. After the new moon, Sagittarius will start to act more concisely, more precisely, more harshly. They will stop grabbing for everything at once. They will choose what really moves things forward, and that is when money will stop flying in all directions. It will begin to gather around one strong decision. This will be their right turn, without noise, but with tangible results. Pisces. Next, it is worth mentioning the sign that often pulls others out, even when it needs strong financial support itself. This is Pisces. The new moon on March 19th works for them as a point of cold review of everything related to money, obligations, and personal value. Without beautiful phrases, without self-deception, representatives of this sign suddenly begin to see how much of their resources they have wasted, how many times they agreed to less, how many times they covered up other people's failures with their money, time, or energy. For Pisces, this is not just a financial reboot. It is a blow to the old model of behavior. If before they could tolerate uncomfortable conditions, hope for the honesty of the other side, or drag out the process on trust, then after March 19th, this mechanism will begin to break down. And that's right. I believe that for Pisces, the main opportunity of this new moon is not in a new cash flow, but in stopping the gentle self-drain. Until they plug the old leaks, no growth will bring stability. The theme of underestimation will begin to manifest itself in work or business. Pisces will see where their work was taken for granted, where their contribution was not fully compensated, where they took on more than was agreed. The new moon gives a clear impulse here. Either the conditions change or participation ends. The middle ground no longer works. Representatives of this sign become calmer, but tougher. They explain less. They justify less. They look more at the facts. A particularly strong theme is money related to family, loved ones, old agreements, and moral debt. This is where Pisces often suffer the most losses. They can help longer than necessary, invest without limits, cover expenses that are not theirs. After March 19th, the situation will begin to even out due to an unpleasant but useful realization. Boundless kindness comes at a high price. And I will say bluntly that the wisest decision for Pisces right now is to separate support from financial self-destruction. These things should not be mixed. The reboot will also come through self-assessment. If Pisces sell their services, their experience, their labor, they will have to reconsider the price, not for the sake of beauty, but because the old figures no longer correspond to the real workload. Some of them will finally get rid of the free stages of work. Some will stop dragging out clients who constantly delay payment. Some will cancel discounts that have long become the norm. It's tough, but it cleans up income. Key points to pay attention to: requests to borrow money, old debts that suddenly come back to haunt you, conversations about shared expenses without clear boundaries, the desire to save someone again with your own resources, unformalized working agreements, increased workload without additional pay, the temptation to agree to less for the sake of peace. These points will be decisive. If Pisces give in here, the reboot will be slow. If they set boundaries, the financial picture will begin to level out very quickly. Another important point concerns impulsive spending on an emotional basis. Pisces have a habit of compensating for tension with purchases, gestures, and small escapes from reality. The new moon will harshly highlight this area. Everything that is bought for short-term relief will then create internal pressure. Everything that is bought for support, for work, for order, will be beneficial. Here you have to be ruthless with yourself. And this is not an exaggeration. This is the bare minimum. My expert opinion is this: Pisces don't need a new chance until the old gaps are closed. Their financial growth does not begin with a big breakthrough, but with a precise rejection of everything that has been eating away at their resources for years under the guise of kindness, patience, or habit. After March 19th, representatives of this sign will become tougher on money matters, quieter in their words, more attentive to details. And it is in this new composure that the main thing will appear: control, weight, real upward movement.